Almost every store that comes to me has exact same problem that stops them from scaling. And it's not their creatives, it's not their CPMs, it's basically that they are leaking tons of sales every single day and they don't even see it. And it happens because they never had a proper email system in place, because let's say some people work with random email agencies, or some people try to create everything on their own and it was not successful. Or let's say, also a ton of people even don't have anything in place, which is, I would say, one of the biggest bottlenecks. So in this video, I'm going to show you where these sales are actually leaking, how to plug every hole, and how to basically just squeeze every single dollar from the existing traffic that you are already paying for. And stay until the math part, because when you're going to see the margin math behind email sales, you're going to basically just stop, worrying about your margins, and they'll be always healthy. So here's the reason why you can't scale. It's not the algorithm, it's not the creatives, it's basically that your margins are slim, and once you scale further, when you go up, your margin is going down, right? Because more you scale, slimmer the margin pretty often becomes. And if you would have a healthy margin, if you would have recovered an additional sales in place, then you will be able just to scale healthy. The brands that actually scale, they have proper email backend system in place, which is basically recovering them 24/7 sales and bringing also additional sales and creating the retention. And in that way, you basically just have a second revenue channel that allows you, to basically make more money. High margin email revenue is just funding your next level ad spend. Okay guys, so I wanted to start with email flows, email automations, and here's the dashboard of Slast. So at the beginning, I also showed his numbers. Amazing dude, my client, I love him. You can follow his Instagram, he's running nice reels. So let's just see all the numbers. So as you can see, welcome flow brought chunk of sales, abandoned checkout, abandoned cart flow, 42, 33K just from nowhere. You just recovered these sales. These were people who were interested and they left the website. Browse abandoned, 37K almost. Even post-purchase is bringing some sales, because if you also add upsells in the post-purchase, or let's say some cross-sell emails, then you can basically also squeeze more sales even from the post-purchase when the customer's already bought. So this is approximately what your numbers can look like. And that month, Slast made over 1 million like a month, maybe like 1.4 mil, something like that. And let me just go through all the automations and explain you how they work. So welcome flow, some people are saying that welcome flow is overrated, and a lot of sales that are coming from the welcome flow are actually not real because people would buy in anyway. But in fact, in the welcome flow, there's like 4 to 5 emails in the chain. So let's say customer went to the website, they submitted their email in the poll form and they left, and they received the email on the second day, or also on the third day. So in that way, you actually recover that sale. And basically welcome flow brings chunk of sales. Cart abandon flow and checkout abandon flow, these are one of the most important ones. So basically when customers reach the cart or checkout, these are basically the warmest audience. They are the most interested ones because they already wanted to buy, they reached the cart, they reached the checkout, but they left. A lot of things can happen. Maybe they got distracted, or they were still doubting about something. But in this case, we basically just remind them, educate them more, and recover. So this is why you should really need these flows in place, because as you can see, even for Slast, just from nowhere, 35K, 42K just from these flows. And this is what actually brings money. This is where you stop leaking sales. Browse abandon flow and site abandon flow. So basically the browse abandon is when customers go to the website, they check the main product on the PDP, and they left. These people are also interested. They clicked on your ad, they went to the website, and they were still checking, around, they wanted to buy it. And if they are in your list, you can actually educate them more. You can send them, basically a chain of emails where you can educate them about every certain aspect, also give them proof of concept, like that it works, testimonials, and that's how they buy. And this is also how Browse Abandon brought basically how much? 36K, that's what I'm talking about. And of course, site abandon. So site abandon is like, I would say more like a win back flow. So basically when customers just come to the website, and they didn't even go to the PDP, you send them this one. But this doesn't work for every store. So this is sometimes I'm replacing this one with winback. And post-purchase flow, I think everyone knows what is post-purchase. When you basically just place order and you receive an email. And this is where you can implement upsells, cross-sells, and ton of nice stuff. And also, again, just show the customer how to use the product, so they would be much more positive when they're gonna already receive the product. And this is about the post-purchase. And let me just explain you, in practice, how the picture looks like when you don't have flows and when you have flows in place. So this is basically a situation when potential customer just goes to the website, they check the product, they were interested, and they left. And you can't remind them in any way. Like you can't do anything, because how if you don't have even a pop-up form in place? You can't reach them out because you don't have their contact. And this is the second situation. So basically, potential customer goes to the website. They see the pop form on the website, right? They sign up. They leave their pop form in the they leave their email in the pop form, and they go to the website. If they're already on the PDP, and we already have their email, in our database. And when they leave, we are basically able just to send them an email. And what we do here, when customer just reads the email, we remind them, right? And he remembers about the product, or we educate him more, and he's again more likely to buy, because let's say broke his limited beliefs, or let's say he saw what he wanted to see, or person was able just to get distracted. There was a World Cup, let's say someone was just watching football, someone scored, and they were checking the product at that moment, and they just got distracted and just forgot about it. And in this way, again, we remind them, and they become interested customer, and they come back. And in this way we convert, in this way we actually bring the sale. Okay, so let's talk about the most interesting part, about math behind recovered sales that come from email. Because the thing is, when you clearly understand what's going on with numbers, what's going on with your margins, and also sales that are coming from ads, you can understand and analyze how basically your numbers are acting. You should understand what's going on in your dashboard. So first of all, I want to talk about COGS. So on average, people has, let's say 25-30% COGS, and this is approximately what I'm saying pretty often. And let's see how just a normal sale that comes from Meta looks like. So it's revenue minus COGS and minus ad spend. So at the end of the day, the margin will be like 20-25%, which is pretty low. Ad spend basically just eats 50% of your margin, which is like a lot. It's basically a lot. And let's see how email sale looks like. So when you get a sale from email, it's basically revenue minus COGS. There is no ad spend. Why? Because if you wouldn't have emails in place, you wouldn't get that email. So that sale is attributed fully to email side, because as you can see, you brought person with ad spend, you paid for that person, and they didn't buy, and now you should implement something additional. And email is basically a system that helps you to not leak sales and recover these sales, as I mentioned already before. And you can see the margin for that sale, 75-80%, which is absolutely crazy. So email is a free acquisition, like you don't spend anything on email, and when you get a sale from email, then your margin is just crazy for that sale. And let me just show you even a better example. So just imagine you've got like 5 sales and 4 sales with Meta ads, and the margin for these sales are like 20%, on average. And 1 sale came from email, like we recovered the sale, it's 75% margin. Total margin for 5 sales is gonna become 31%. So basically the sale that you got from email increased your margin, and logically your conversion rate also went up. So when you get an additional sale, when you recover a sale, it basically just increases your conversion rate and margin. And it's just like so valuable. And just imagine now how many email sales you would be able to make every single day if you would have just all the flows in place. Let's say you've got like 100 sales with recovered with abandoned cart flow. Like these are basically 100 sales that has 75% margin. It's like crazy. So this is actually how numbers look like, and it's just so stupid when people are ignoring flows. Now let me go to campaigns and show you how campaigns are working, because they are also like super valuable. And just look at this one. So these are campaigns again of Slust from his dashboard. As you can see, every campaign was bringing him 2.4k, 2.3, 3k, 3.2, 4k. So these sales are all high margin sales, because every sale that you get from campaign, the sale is or a recovered sale or an additional sale. So let me also show you clearly how it looks like and what basic campaigns are. Campaigns are emails. Someone called them, some people call them newsletter. So every month, let's say we just prepare a calendar, and the calendar looks like this, approximately just a plan, and you basically just create designed emails and text-based emails, just combining them, and in that way, you just schedule them in Klaviyo and you send them, and they bring you just additional sales. They build the retention, and this is again the practical case how campaigns work. So potential customer comes to the website, they see the pop-up form, and they leave their email in the pop form. Let's say customer didn't buy, they still remain in our list, or a person bought, they also stay in our list. So then we have them in our list, in our database. We send them campaigns, let's say monthly, weekly we send 3 campaigns a week, and we send them to both type of people who bought and who didn't buy. Pretty often we send different types of emails to them, but still, you know, we send campaigns to them. And with campaigns to customers that didn't buy, we can again just recover them, you know, because if we were not able to recover them with flows immediately, then we have time just to educate them more, send campaigns, you know, show them why we are the best in what we do, why our product is actually crushing, and we recover a customer that didn't buy. And the second situation, we send campaign to customer that already bought, and the customer becomes a second, you know, time purchaser, or let's say he buys third time too, fourth time too, and this is builds basically the retention. And again, these both sales gonna have like, I don't know, approximately like 75% margin, because you don't spend on ads. Again, you don't spend anything. And let me just go and show you again math behind also monthly campaign sales. So any sale that you get from campaign, let me show you the math. It's just basically rev, again, minus COGS, the sale. Let's say you've got 100K rev a month and the margin was 20%, right? And now imagine if you implemented campaigns and now you're sending campaigns. Let's say campaigns brought you additional 15K from campaigns. Not hard to bring this amount of money, let's say. And basically profit from these 15K gonna be 11K 250 bucks, but the profit from 100K rev was 20K. So in total, your profit gonna be 31K, you know? Basically, you just implemented campaigns and they brought you 50% more profit, because these sales are again high margin sales. I'm gonna repeat myself every time, but this is how it works, you know? And this is why it's super like stupid just to ignore campaigns and flows and not building them in the long term, because some people are always trying to build a brand that are talking about like, I want to have retention in place, and they don't do anything. But this is what you need to have in the back end to scale healthy. You know, when your margins are healthy, when you are getting additional sales from other funnel, you're just like 10 steps ahead of others. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you guys about the flows and campaigns. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm handling email marketing side for a lot of Ecom stores that you heard about. So if you want me to audit your store to actually break down where you are leaking sales, where you can actually make more money, and how much money is sitting in your list, then you can just book a call with me, and yeah, you know, I'm gonna go through everything and break it down for you. And if you got value from this video, please subscribe, because I'm gonna continue just breaking down backends of 7 to 8 figure brands. So yeah, see you in the next one.